Brett Allen chatting with actress Dorren Lee about Kung Fu season 3. We were introduced to her character last season, and this season we get more. It's very exciting for the fans. People love this show. And we've had several of your cast members on time off. Just the list goes on and on. This is a really good show. Dorren, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Brett.
Yes, well, it's hard to believe, as I said, season 3 is upon us. This show just moves so fast and furious. How has your experience been being a part of this season and this cast and getting to tell such a fun and unique kind of story?
It's been amazing, So I had probably auditioned for this show about 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, starting from season 1. So I, kind of followed along the story just through my audition process, and booked a part as Yuan in season 2. And first day on set, everyone is so lovely. Olivia Lang, the lead, she's an absolute angel. She makes everybody feel so comfortable on set. The producers are amazing. The directors are amazing. So yeah, when I was invited back for season 3, I was ecstatic. And I grew up in Vancouver. I live in Toronto. So I'm just like, wow, I get to go home and work and, be on this incredible set.
Yeah, it's always nice when your job is in your backyard, so to speak, and you don't have to travel or be bi-coastal. And on a side note, it's very cool that Toronto has really just become a booming industry for film and television, just as much so as any of the other cities. I mean, that, whether it's LA or, New Mexico, whatever the case might be, it's nice when you don't have to travel far. So interesting. You sort of began this process with season 1. I would like to explore that a little bit because I think, our listeners and viewers would find that part fascinating, that this oftentimes can be a very long process, right, before you get actually cast.
Absolutely. So, by the third audition, I was just like, I'm not gonna get the part. Like, they've seen me so many times, I just felt like maybe I was just auditioning because I fit the breakdown, but maybe not necessarily because they wanted to hire me. So when I got the part, I was really surprised because that audition for Yuan, I was like, I'm not getting it. So I like hardly prepped for it, and I was like, I did like 2 takes, and I was like, I'm not gonna get it anyway. So, and then I found out a week later, and yeah, it's just starting off from there.
Yeah, very good. Well, this season is exciting and there's much anticipation. Obviously, without spoilers, what can people expect from your character? Obviously, again, we don't want to spoil anything, but sort of what you kind of hope fans get, perhaps maybe even getting to know your character a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like from season 2, she is the rival, and you kind of feel like she's evil and making everyone's life really difficult, but you start to understand that she has really good reasons, and she's part of the organization Wanzai for a reason, and she's upholding her allegiance to that. So in season 3, we kind of get to find out whether she's going to continue making Henry and Nikki's life more difficult, or if she will come and meet them halfway and perhaps assist them.
Yeah, I think that's a good synopsis for sure. So you have been a part of so many great projects, obviously including this one, but where did the storytelling journey or acting journey begin for you? What was your interest that sparked this for you?
Well, it's something I've always been interested in as a child. I've always asked a lot of questions, and I think being an immigrant, it made me ask more questions like, oh, how come like my parents are telling me this is how like the custom should be, and then at school I'm learning something else, and it kind of snowballed from there. Like, oh, what does it mean to just like exist, and why do these rules? Why do we have these rules? And what does it mean to like have your own identity? Do you just follow what you've been told, or you kind of learn everything and you decide for yourself what's right for you. So it's something I've always been interested in. I didn't really have the opportunity to pursue it until after college. So my parents wanted me to have a degree in more of a stable profession. So I went to college for business. I finished that, but like throughout, like even in class in college, I was like, I'm just gonna finish this. I'm gonna save up money and I'm gonna take acting classes. So after I did that, I moved to New York actually for a summer. I did a theater program just to kind of get my feet wet and see if it's something I'd be interested in doing. Because I feel like there's a difference between wanting to do something and feeling like you can actually do it. So after that experience, I was like, no, I really love this. And then I moved to Toronto, took more acting classes, got an agent, and just started auditioning from there.
Yeah. So once you started experiencing success, booking projects, what was that initial conversation like with family? Were they excited? Were they supportive? Obviously, you know, you alluded to the fact that they you went to college, got a business degree, which is good because you could still use that in this business and understanding it. So were they finally in a place where that was cemented in their minds, like, okay, she's doing this and she's experiencing perceivable success, I guess you could say, because you're booking roles, obviously.
Yeah, well, initially it was like, okay, great. Well, what about your next role? Like, okay,
Yeah.
great. What about your next role? And then now it's at the point where they're like, wow, she's so persistent with this. It's just gonna be her life now. And so they've been really supportive and they've accepted it. And I think they've also kind of come around and just seeing how the world has changed so much from when they were growing up that they're like, okay, like, you know, having your own thing is almost better than being attached to some sort of big corporation now.
Yeah. I think that's a good point to end on. I think if you can define success, you know, in the level of, as you said, having your own, you're just kind of in charge of your own destiny, right? Like, obviously, part of it is left up to the powers that be, so to speak, that make the casting and that want to see you. But also you just having the talent and the ability and the tenacity to pursue this, because your career vocation is just so much different, I think, than what most people know. And you're probably maybe thinking too, well, yeah, what about my next role? What about my next project? That I think that goes through every actor's head, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like whenever an actor has done a project, they just want to know what the next one is before they feel settled. And I guess it is this fine balance because I know a lot of actors love the challenge. So it's this fine balance of like, oh no, I want the challenge of like booking the part and auditioning for it and then like feeling like I earned it. And then also like, well, it'd be nice to have to be offered a role right now. Um, and I think that goes for any entrepreneur, anyone that starts their own business.
Yeah.
Being an actor is starting your own business. I think it's easy to forget that, especially when you're in acting class and it's really focused on your creative side and your art. But you forget that there's so much business involved to start moving your career forward.
Yes, and also just persistence pays and hard work works. That's what has garnered your success for this great show, Kung Fu. Season 3, be sure to watch it and catch up on the other 2 seasons. We get introduced to your character in the second season, obviously, but even knowing that you possibly could have been doing this even back to season 1 is really cool, because it has to just be a testament to the fact that they wanted you somewhere in this world, but maybe it just took them a little bit of time to figure it out, I would think, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, and then I met the other actors who got the roles that I had auditioned for, and I'm like, they're perfect. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm so happy that they got those parts, and I feel like there's a bit of like mystery and like like you can't put into words what it is, but all these things have to kind of line up for these things to happen. And so yeah, like what you said, I believe just being persistent and then the time will come for everybody in this industry.
Yeah, because I imagine after the second time, the third time, they're like, I would be like, okay, is this a joke? Am I being punked? Like, but I've been told.
That's how I felt. I saw the break, like the audition. I was like, oh really, this show again? Really again? You want me, or like is this just like you just want to torture me?
Wow, crazy. Well, great work. Congratulations. Dorren, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brett. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.